Welcome to the Rugby Obsession Deep Dive. I have to admit, I woke up this morning, grabbed my coffee, and the very first thing I did was refresh the World Rugby rankings.
Oh, me too.
Yeah.
A Monday morning ritual after a Six Nations weekend.
We are looking at the fallout from round one of the 2026 Six Nations, and let me tell you, the world order has been given a pretty significant shakeup.
A shakeup is putting it mildly. It's, usually the rankings are this slow-moving glacier.
Right.
You check them, nothing really changes. But this Monday, we've had real movement, a new look in the top four, a historic shift for Italy, and then there's that really strange one.
Oh, the England Anomaly. That's the one I really want to get into because the math there just seems, I don't know, broken to me. But we'll get there. We're basing this deep dive on the analysis from Jared Wright over at Planet Rugby, looking at the match reports and, those complex ranking algorithms.
Yeah, the big movers being France and Italy, obviously.
Yeah. And the non-movers, England. But look, before we get into the math and the mud, if you are as obsessed with this as we are, I need you to do one thing right now. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button for Rugby Obsession. You do not want to miss an update, especially when the table is moving this fast.
It's the only way to keep up. You miss 1 week, you miss the whole narrative.
Okay, let's unpack this. The headline. The big one. That huge clash on Thursday night to open the tournament. Stade de France. France versus Ireland.
Mm-hmm.
And looking at the table today, they've just swapped spots entirely. France has overtaken Ireland. Break down the numbers for me. How much did that one game actually matter?
Oh, it mattered a great deal. This is the most significant change in that top tier. So coming into the weekend, Ireland was sitting pretty at fourth. After that result, France has jumped up to fourth with 88.40 points. And to get there, they picked up exactly 1.1 sum rating points.
And this is a zero-sum system, right? So I'm guessing that means Ireland lost that exact amount.
That is exactly how it works. Whatever one team gains, the other loses. So Ireland dropped 1.16 points, which pushes them down to fifth place on 86.81. And, 1.16 might sound like a small number, but in the context of the top five, that is a massive swing.
Well, it feels justified, though, doesn't it? I mean, looking at the match report, this wasn't some 50-50 game. The sources are calling it a comprehensive thrashing. The score was 36-14.
Comprehensive thrashing is, I think, the perfect phrase. And you have to look at the context for Fabien Galthy, the French coach. He was under a lot of pressure. This result is just a massive vindication for him.
And let's talk players, because the rankings are just a reflection of what happens on the pitch. You got Louis Bielbiarré for France. I mean, they called him Magic.
Yeah.
He was playing a different sport. He is just electric. And when you have a winger who can create something from nothing like that, it just changes the entire defensive picture for the other team.
But on the flip side, for Ireland to drop that heavily, something had to go really wrong. And the analysis on Sam Prendergast is, it's pretty brutal reading. It is. I mean, he's a young fly half, huge potential, but throwing him into the cauldron of the Stade de France, it was a gamble. The source material called his performance a horror show.
The line that stuck with me was slow as dial-up. That is harsh.
It's harsh, but it explains the ranking drop. The fly half is your conductor, and if your conductor is, slow as dial-up, the whole orchestra just falls apart. The game management collapsed. France looked every bit a top four power. Ireland, frankly, didn't.
Okay, so let's move south. From Paris to Rome. This is the story everyone is talking about, the Roman upset. I looked at the table, and I honestly had to double-check it. We have a new team in the single-digit rankings.
This is huge, absolutely huge. For years, we've talked about Italy's potential. We've sort of patted them on the head for putting in a good effort. But Saturday at the Stadio Olimpico, that was them arriving, Italy is up to 9th in the world. They picked up 0.82 points.
And again, it's a zero-sum game. So who paid for Italy's rise?
That would be the Scots. Scotland dropped down to 10th, losing that same 0.82 points. So they've essentially just swapped places. Italy is now a top 9 nation.
The score was tight, 18-15. But the reports say Italy really dominated the first half.
They did. But you also have to look at the other side. Gregor Townsend, the Scotland coach. The analysis says his bold calls completely backfired.
Backfired how? What went wrong for them?
Well, it's usually about selection gambles or tactics that just don't work out. It feels like maybe they thought they could rotate the squad and coast. But Italy is good enough now to punish you for that.
I love that phrase from the source. Ruling Rome. It just paints such a great picture.
It does. And you have to think about the math. It's incredibly hard to gain points when you're ranked lower because you're expected to lose. So when you pull off an upset against a team like Scotland, the algorithm rewards you heavily for it.
That's a great point. Next week, whoever plays Italy isn't prepping for the wooden spoon team. They're prepping for the number 9 team in the world.
Exactly. And for Scotland, dropping to 10th, that creates anxiety. It suggests you're sliding backwards.
Okay, so we've got France and Ireland swapping, Italy and Scotland swapping. Now we have to talk about the one that actually made me angry at the math. The anomaly. England.
Ah, yes, the dominant non-event.
Right. So England versus Wales at Twickenham. England hammers them. 48-7. It was 29-0 at halftime. I mean, a totally dominant performance.
A clinical demolition.
So I look at the rankings, expecting England to maybe inch a bit closer to the top 2. And what do I see? 0. Nothing. Not a single fraction of a point. How's it even possible?
This is where we have to get a little nerdy with the algorithm. It feels unfair, but it's actually just pure logic. It all comes down to the pre-match points differential.
Okay, walk me through it.
So before kickoff, England was 3rd in the world, Wales was 11th. There was a 15.18 point gap between them.
Which is a huge gap.
It's a chasm. And on top of that, you have to factor in home field advantage. The algorithm gives the home team about 3 extra points before it does the calculation.
So in the computer's eyes, England was already expected to win by a lot.
Precisely. The system basically saw an England victory as a near certainty. It rewards the unexpected. If Wales had somehow won, the points exchange would have been astronomical. But England winning, even by 40 points, the algorithm just shrugs and says, yep, that's what we thought would happen.
That is just so frustrating. You play a near-perfect game, and you're in the exact same spot you were when you woke up.
It is, but it also really highlights the massive gap between England and Wales right now. England held their ground, but they couldn't close the gap on New Zealand or South Africa.
And speaking of those two, let's just zoom out for a second. South Africa and New Zealand, are they okay?
Untouchable. Completely safe. South Africa is number 1, New Zealand is number 2. The gap is so large that nothing that happened this weekend was ever going to threaten them.
It must be nice to have that security.
It must be.
Okay, before we move on, I want to interrupt this breakdown for just a second. If you're enjoying this deep dive into the stats and the stories, make sure to subscribe to Rugby Obsession right now. We do this every week, and as you can see, the landscape changes fast.
Absolutely. The rankings never sleep, and neither do we.
I do want to touch on the Tier 2 picture briefly. Spain versus the Netherlands.
Yeah, a real high-scoring shootout there. Spain won 51-33, and because of that, Spain got 0.15 rating points.
Not much, but it matters.
It matters for World Cup qualification pathways. It keeps them seeded correctly, and holding on to that 15th spot is actually crucial for them.
Okay, let's look at some of the fallout from the weekend. Breaking news. Because the rankings are math, but the human cost is real. There's a big injury update from the England camp.
There is. Steve Borthwick gave an update on Emmanuel Fewa-Bote, and the quote is, "Worst fears realized."
Oh, that's just devastating for the player.
It is. And even after a 48-7 win, losing a winger of that quality is a massive blow. That could affect their ability to win the next game.
And yet, the mood in the England camp seems almost aggressive.
Yeah.
Ollie Chessum has some interesting things to say.
He did. He was issuing warnings to rivals about tomorrow's job. It's that, job done, move on mentality. They just crushed Wales, got 0 points for it, lost a key player, and the message is still, we're coming for you.
And of course, we can't have a weekend go by without Eddie Jones chipping in.
Eddie being Eddie, he's calling on World Rugby to show leadership and predicting a big crackdown on the laws.
Is he just stirring the pot?
A little bit of that, but he's also trying to influence the refs for the next round. It's a classic mind game.
And finally, on recognition. I mean, England win 48-7. Surely they dominated the Team of the Week selections.
You'd think so, wouldn't you? But no, the Team of the Week was actually dominated by players from Italy and France.
Seriously, why?
Because of the quality of the opposition. The thinking was, well, England beat a struggling Wales team, but Italy beat Scotland. France crushed Ireland, so those were seen as the higher quality, more impressive performances.
Wow. That has to be a little insulting if you're an England player.
I think Borthwick will use that, though. He'll tell his team, see, nobody respects us yet. We have to go and do it again against a top team.
So, as it stands then, South Africa, New Zealand safe, England at 3 but frustrated, France jumping to 4, looking dangerous, Ireland's sliding to 5, and the beautiful sight of Italy at 9.
It's a fascinating snapshot, and you have to remember this could all flip again next week. Every single game is a lever pulling on this machine.
It adds so much to every kickoff. You're not just playing for the trophy, you're playing for your global standing.
Exactly.
I want to turn this over to you listening right now. What did you think of the ranking shifts? Was the Italy win the highlight of the weekend for you?
Yeah, I'm really curious if people agree with the current top 10. Does France deserve to be ahead of Ireland based on just one game?
That's the eternal debate, isn't it? The
Yeah.
algorithm versus the eye test. But that is why we love it. At the end of the day, the math is the math. But the game is played on grass.
And this Six Nations is off to an absolutely flying start.
And we'll be right here to break it all down. Remember to subscribe to Rugby Obsession to keep up with the tournament.
Talk to you next week.
Thank you for listening to the Rugby Obsession Deep Dive, and we'll look forward to you listening to our next episode.